Hello? This is Rosemary, the telephone operator. Can I help you? Yes? Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, okay. Thank you. Goodbye. Okay, apparently I need to get on with reading the story because I'm lost in the land of bananas. I've gone bananas. So, here we go. Let's make our wish. Blow your wishes out of the window. And make sure you have your cup of tea. Oh, I have my shopping list attached to the bottom of my tea. Make sure you have a friend. I have my little magnet friend. And I thought you might like to have a little flying spell today. So, woo! There we go. Away we go. Gonna fly into these pages. And what else? You might like to have a sweet treat. My son Jake just baked these. Great cookies. I'll just put on my reading glasses. All right, we're all set. I actually have banana gloves, but well, I'll put one banana glove. Why not? Okay, so where were we? Yesterday in the story. We were, they just ate pancakes. I may have to not have those on because I can't actually see. So, Pippi had just made, oh yeah, that works. Pippi had just made Tommy and Annika pancakes. And now they are going to, they finished up their pancake. And here we go. Are you sitting comfortably? Find your comfy spot. Okay. Suppose you go home now, said Pippi, so that you can come back tomorrow. Because if you don't go home, well, you can't come back. And that would be a real shame. So Tommy and Annika went home. And the next morning, Annika cried, "Wake up, Tommy! Wake up! Let's go and see that funny girl with the big shoes." They scurried into the kitchen. "Goodbye, Mum! We're off to see the funny girl next door, and we may stay all day." I think their mother was a little bewildered, but off they went. Now that morning, Pippi was busy making peppercorn. Oh no, another word I can't say. Okay, I can do this. Pepparkakor. If you speak Swedish, I apologize. I don't know how to say that word. Pepparkakor. Okay. Anyway, it says here it was a Swedish cookie. This is a Jake cookie, and she made Swedish cookies. And she had made an enormous amount of dough and rolled it out on the kitchen floor. "Well, because," said Pippi to her little monkey, Mr. Nielsen, "what earthly use is a baking board when one plans to have at least 500 cookies? 500 cookies? And there she lay on the floor, cutting out cookies for her dear life. "Oh, Mr. Nielsen, stop climbing around in the dough." And just then the doorbell rang. Pippi ran and opened it. She was covered in flour from head to toe, and when she shook it off, the huge cloud of flour hung in the air, and Tommy and Annika stood there blinking. "Oh, so nice you called round," she said, and she shook her apron. So there was another big cloud of flour in the air. Said Tommy. "Hello, Pippi. What are you doing today?" Said Pippi. "Well, if I say that I'm sweeping the chimney, you wouldn't believe me because you're far too clever. Just like all of you. The fact is, I'm baking. but I'll be done soon, so you can sit on the wood box for a while if you like and watch, and we can have a chat. Well, Pippi could work so fast. Tommy and Annika sat and watched how she went through the dough and how she threw the cookies into the cookie pans and swung the pans into the oven. They thought it was as good as going to the circus. Done, said Pippi at last, and shut the door on the last pan. Oh, I missed that sentence. And shut the door with a bang. So, what are we going to do now? Said Tommy. Well, said Pippi, I don't know what you are going to do, but I know that I cannot lie around all day because I am a thing finder. And when you're a thing finder, you don't have 1 minute to spare. Ha! Unless she finds a bank of time to lie in, or she just stops for a minute and holds her heartbeat and just thinks about her heart beating. Anyway, I don't think she's going to do that. So, said Annika, excuse me, what did you say you are? I am a thing finder. Oh, what's that? Said Tommy. Well, said Pippi, it's someone who hunts for things naturally. What else could it be? As she swept all the flour up into the air again and then made a little pile. Why, the whole world is full of things, and somebody has to look for them. And that's just what a thing finder does. Well, what kind of things? Asked Annika. Oh, all kinds of things, said Pippi. Lumps of gold, ostrich feathers, dead rats, candy snap crackers. I don't know what those are. Do you know what a candy snap cracker is? They sound delicious. Tiny little screws, buttons, old tin cans. Well, Tommy and Annika thought it sounded as if it would be fun, and they wanted very much to be thing finders too. Although Tommy did say he hoped he'd find a lump of gold and not a tiny little screw. Well, we shall see what we shall see, said Pippi. One always finds something, but we've got to hurry up and get going so that the other thing finders don't pick up all the lumps of gold before we get there. So all 3 thing finders now set out. They decided that it would be best to begin hunting around the houses in the neighborhood because Pippi said that although it could perfectly... I have to say that sentence one more time. Pippi thought that it could perfectly well happen that one might find a tiny little button or a tiny little nail deep in the woods. But still, the very best things were usually found where people were living. Though, she said, for that matter, I think there's a tall tale coming. I've seen it the other way around too. I remember once when I was out hunting for things in the jungles of Borneo, right in the heart of the forest where no human being had ever before set foot. What do you suppose I found? What do you suppose she found in the middle of a Borneo jungle? What do you think? Actually, it was a rainforest, not a jungle. What do you think she found? Well, she said, I found a very fine wooden leg. I gave it away later to a one-legged man, and he said that it was the best wooden leg he had ever been given. Well, Tommy and Annika looked at each other, and then they looked at Pippi, and then they decided to just go along with that fine, fine tale of a wooden leg. So they watched Pippi to see just how a thing finder acted. Pippi ran from one side of the road to the other side, shading her eyes with her hand and hunting and hunting and hunting. And sometimes she crawled around on her hands and knees, stuck her hands in between the pickets of a fence, and then, in a disappointed tone, "Oh dear, I was sure I saw a lump of gold." These Grinch gloves. I think these are my Grinch gloves. I wondered where they were. I'm totally putting myself off the story with looking at my gloves in here. It's very strange reading a story to a camera because it actually looks like I'm in a mirror. It's very odd. Well, yeah. May we really take everything we find? Asked Annika. Well, everything that's lying on the ground, said Pippi. And presently they came to an old man lying asleep on the ground outside his cottage in the grass. It was a beautiful summer's day, and there he was having a lovely nap. "There," said Pippi, "that man, lying on the ground. He's on the ground. We found him. We'll take him." Tommy and Annika were utterly horrified. "Oh, no, we can't take a person. Anyway, what would we do with a person?" "What would we do with him? Oh, there are plenty of things that we can do with a person, a found person. Oh, we could keep him in a little rabbit hutch instead of a rabbit, and we'll feed him fresh dandelion leaves every day. But on second thoughts, I can see that's bothering you, so we'll just leave him there to nap." And suddenly Pippi gave a terrific yell. "Oh, well, I never thought the like," she cried, and she picked up a large, rusty, old tin can from the grass. "Oh, what a find! What a find! Cans! Cans! That's something you can never have too many of. I'm losing a banana. Oh, I lost a banana. Put my banana over there." Tommy looked at the can doubtfully. "Well, what can you use it for?" "Oh, you can use it in all sorts of ways," said Pippi. "One can put cookies in it. Then it becomes a delightful jar with cookies in it. Another thing would to be not to put cookies in it. Then it becomes a jar without cookies. But that's certainly not quite as delightful as a jar with cookies in it, but it's still good." She examined the can, which was indeed rusty, and it had a hole in the bottom. She thought, "It looks almost as if it were a jar without cookies," she said thoughtfully. "But you can put it over your head and pretend it's midnight." And that is what she did. With the can on her head, she wandered around the block like a little metal tower and never stopped until she stumbled over a low wire fence and fell flat on her stomach. And there was a big crash, and the tin hit the ground. Pippi jumped up. "Now see that," said Pippi. "If I hadn't had that tin can on my head, I'd have hurt myself quite badly." "Excuse me," said Annika, "but if you hadn't had the can on your head, you would not have tripped over the wire fence in the first place." But before she'd finished speaking, There was another triumphant cry, woohoo, from Pippi, who was holding up an empty spool of thread. This seems like my lucky day, she said. Such a sweet little spool to blow soap bubbles with or hang around my neck for a necklace. Come on, let's go home and make a bubble blower with this empty spool of thread this very minute. And that is where I will end today's story. So thank you so much for tuning in to the banana episode. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much.